opened Audition. So let me move my little tab bar somewhere else because I'm going to need that. So if you're just recording yourself, you'll go to File, New, and then see multi-track session means that you're probably going to have two mics, and you want to record them both into your computer, okay? Or you may have two mics, so your mic as the host, your guest on another mic, and then your music. So you may want to have 3 audio tracks, okay? So for our purposes, I'm going to do a multi-track session. So I'm going to open that up, give it a title, and I'm just going to say tutorial Wednesday. Okay. It's going right now. You'll see it's going into my Furman podcast. I don't want it to go into my podcast because those are the Class E podcasts. So I'm going to look on my Furman, I should say, my hard drive. That's what I meant to say. And then I'm going to go to teaching because I want this to go into our section. So find where you want it to go. And by the way, if you have pre-taped stuff, I suggest like sound bites and whatnot, I suggest you go ahead and put those all in the same folder so that you can drag them into Audition when you're ready to edit them into your podcast. So we're going to go into teaching. I'm not going to put it in spring. I'm going to put it in summer. Okay. It's automatically set at 44 gigahertz, 44 hertz, and then 32 bits. Leave that. That's fine. So hit OK. And so you see now I have several tracks. So there's one track, there's another track, so on and so forth. Okay. So I am going to record a little intro. So down here, if you look on the left-hand side, Audition is like most every Adobe piece of software in that it works kind of in layers, okay? And then every section you'll see, because I've highlighted that section. That's my file. Those are my files. So anything that I record is going to go over here, okay? So that's my project file. And then this section is the actual recording, what you're doing. You see it highlighted in blue. That section is your recording bar, like your tape recorder in the old days, okay? You see your time cues, that's how long you've been. You can zoom in and out, and then these are your time cues as well. You can see the duration of how long you've been, and if you had different clips in there, you could click on it and see how long that each clip was. So I'm going to go into Audition Preferences, Audio Hardware. And then I'm going to make sure that it is on the microphone that I'm using. So you see the default input, and I have it on my AT220 USB. I want it to stay there, okay? Output is just my regular computer, okay? It's built-in output, and that's okay. You have to make sure that the same thing, that your audio selection on your computer is the same as in Adobe. Okay, so if you're not able to record, that's the first thing I check. Okay, so hit OK there. So then what you do is you go to the track where you want your voice to go. And you go to Default Stereo Input, and then go to Audio Hardware. And it's on System Default, so that's good. That's where we want it. We want it on the mic that I have chosen already. Output is the system output. That's okay. I'm okay with that. And then hit OK. Okay. And then hit record on that track. So if you do not hit record, it does not know to hit record on that track. Okay. So before I start recording, I'm going to make sure that that's hit. If I have sound on any of the other tracks and I don't want it to mess me up, then I'm going to hit mute on those other tracks, and it will mute those other tracks. I'm okay so far because I don't have anything on those tracks. So before I record my intro, I'm going to leave 10 seconds of silence. Later, I'm going to edit that off, okay? But for right now, I want 10 seconds of the room noise, okay? And I'll show you why in just a moment. So I'm going to hit record down here on the left-hand corner. I'm going to allow 10 seconds of just the ambient room noise, and then I'm going to record a little intro for our little tutorial podcast. Make sure your cursor is at the very beginning. Wherever you have your cursor is where it's going to record. And just like any other Adobe product, you can always undo if you mess something up. So down here on the left-hand corner, I'm going to hit record. Hi there, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Digital Storytelling Podcast. I'm your host, Mary Sturgill, and this is a tutorial for my digital storytelling class. Our guests, my class. Okay, so I stumbled there, right? So we're going to clean that up and cut that out. So you see up here at the top, you have your toolbars, right? And I have the little razor blade there. So I know I messed up at one point. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to listen. Hi there, everyone. Well, I want to cut out that the little smacking of the lips. Okay. You want to cut out some of your ums. If it's getting annoying, I would say cut it out. Okay. Everybody says a little bit, but like is the other one that you need to cut out. So see this bar up here at the top? This shows what I have on my screen. I want to highlight and zoom in, so I can use this bar to zoom in to where my cursor is, because that's close to where, see, I'm zooming in by dragging the bar. And I want to cut out that click. So that's the click right there. See that? And my breath. So I'm going to use my razor tool up here at the top, and I'm going to slice it right there. And I'm going to slice it on the other side of that click. And then I'm going to go back to my arrow tool. I'm going to highlight that, and I'm just going to hit delete. Okay. Now you can take the rest of that and just slide it over to touch. Okay. So let's listen to that now. Hi there, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Digital Storytelling Podcast. I'm your host, Mary Sturgill, and this is an instructor. See, that's where I messed up. So I want to cut that out, right? So let me zoom out just a little bit to get the start of it. Sturgill, and this is an instructor. So that I messed up on. So let's use my clip tool again, my razor blade. And I probably want to cut it before I take that breath. And then let me move me so you can see me. And then and this is a tutorial. So that's where I want to start, and this. So get my razor tool again and cut it. And go back to my arrow tool, highlight that and delete it. And then shift my track over. Okay, let's listen to that. Move your cursor back over. Virgil, and this is a tutorial for my digital storytelling class. Our guests, my class. Okay. So this might be when you say, welcome to da 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 da, your guest. Okay. And they would say, thank you so much. Okay. So now on this second track, I probably want some music. So we're going to go back up to the top here, see our little icon that zooms us in and zooms us out. I'm going to take it back to the beginning so that I know exactly where my beginning is. So I've downloaded some music, and there's a 10-second version and 90-second version of this particular one. So I'm going to go with the 10-second version, and then I'm just going to drag and drop it into my project. Okay, you could also go, make sure I'm not it, File, Import, File, and now I have New Horizons. So there's a 30, 15-second. Let's do the 15-second one. Click on that and do Open. Okay, so now I want what I'm doing to go to the second track. So I'll highlight the second track, and let's take the 15-second New Horizon and lay it down. So I just drag and drop it. And I can tell that's really loud. So see the two little knobs right here? I'm going to turn that knob down. and turn that knob down. Okay. And it needs to be turned down a little bit more. There, that's better, because you don't want your music bed audio to be louder than your voice. So we'll see how that sounds when my voice comes in. Hi there, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Digital Storytelling Podcast. So I want that edit to be a little bit more smooth. I don't want the music completely out. So I'm going to take that music and I'm going to at least have it go where I say the name of the podcast. So I'm going back up to my voice track and see, I've highlighted that first part of the 10 seconds of quietness. I don't need that whole part, so I'm going to make it the same as the beginning. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it to the beginning, move that, and move all the pieces. That's the simplest way. There are lots of different ways, so explore. There's lots of different ways to move stuff. And then I'm going to drag that to the beginning. Now let's see what that sounds like. Hi there, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Digital Storytelling Podcast. I'm your host, Mary Sturgill, and this is a tutorial for my digital storytelling class. So you see how the music faded in and then faded out. So find a piece of music that does that, or that you can do that too. And you can find a tutorial on Audition to see how to do that if the music doesn't naturally fade. This particular one naturally fades. So now I want to show you how to clean this up. So right now we are in multi-track view, right? So I want to change my view because it's almost like going from a 10,000 foot view to a close-up, okay? So I'm going to go to view up here at the top, and I'm going to do waveform editor. And that's how I can edit a single thing. So I'm going to move my cursor to the very beginning, right? There it is. I'm going to hit I for in and move it to where I want, right here. O for out. That's highlighted, okay? I'm going to go to effects, noise reduction or restoration, and I'm going to capture the noise print. And it says audio selection will be captured. Do you want this? Yes, I do. Okay. And then I'm going to zoom out and move my out button so that the whole thing is highlighted. So we're going to go to effects, noise reduction restoration, noise reduction, and the noise in this room is a little bit high. We'll leave it for now, but you can play around with this, okay? And when I say a little bit high, it's still at -100, so we're okay. And then I'm going to hit apply. And that reduces the background sound and everything. And this is an instructor. And this is a tutorial for my digital storytelling class. So now I want to show you another way to clean something up. This is a tutorial for my digital storytelling class. See that breath right there? I don't necessarily like that breath right there, so I'm going to clean that up. So you could do this. An I would cut out. A breath, put your cursor where you want, hit the I for in, O for out, and it's highlighted that breath. And then I'm going to do a right click. I'm going to go to auto heal selection. And it auto heals it. So now listen to it. Yes. There's no breath there. It cleaned up the breath. Okay. Yes. So here's another one. You can see on the, I'm pointing at my screen. You can see on the timeline right here, there's a little glitch. So that's where I had some paper or something. So you can either cut that out. That. Do you really want to cut it? Yes. Or let's do edit undo. You can auto heal it. And it's gone. Ta-da. Okay. So let's go back to our view. Let's go to multi-track editor and let's double check everything that we've done. Hi there, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Digital Storytelling Podcast. I'm your host, Mary Sturgill, and this is a tutorial for my digital storytelling class. Okay, now we're going to go to File, Export, Multi-track Mixdown, because we're multi-track, and we want to do the entire session. If I did time selection, it would just be the one that I have highlighted, but we want to do the entire session. Make sure it's going to where you want it to go, and it's called what you want it to be called. And remember that any of the Adobe products save things to the last place that you saved something to, but this is where I wanted to go into summer teaching. And then, okay. And it says I already have one, so choose a new file name. So I'm going to do Wednesday 1. All right, so let's check that out. Tutorial Wednesday 1. I'll double click on it. And there you go. Hi there, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Digital Storytelling Podcast. I'm your host, Mary Sturgill, and this is a tutorial for my digital storytelling class. Our guests, my class. All right, so you are ready to do your lab. If you feel like you need more instruction, obviously run to YouTube. There's plenty of instruction on there. But for this particular lab, and really the basics, razor tool, learn it in every Adobe program, how to clean the audio, and of course chop things down, and then how to just bring your music in or bring files in. So the same way that I brought that music in, if you did a pre-taped answer to a question that you wanted to drop in and you say, here's what so-and-so said when I talked to them earlier, then you would drag and drop that or import it into the project. Okay, if you have any questions, just email me. I'm happy to work with you on it. All right, have a good day. Have fun with this.